Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome to this morning Srimad Bhagavatam class. It's from Canto 2, Chapter 8, and text 19 and 20. Chapter 2 is entitled The Cosmic Manifestation, and Chapter 8, The Questions by King Parikshit. So we do text 19 and text 20. So when we get to text 20, then if anybody wants to repeat the chanting of the mantra or the text, then they can do that. So I'll do the first one. Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana. Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana. Jamunatira Vanachari. Jamunatira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Giridhari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Giridhari. Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Jamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari 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 Jayom Vishnupad Paramhansa Parivrajakacharya Astottara Satyasisi Maharaj Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jayom Vishnupad Paramhansa Parivrajakacharya Astottara Satyasisi Maharaj Divine Grace Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavin Ki Jai Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Charya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय मथुरा धाम की जय नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय जगन्नाथ स्वामी की जय गंगा माई की जय जमुना माई की जय तुलसी देवी की जय भक्ति देवी की जय हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय सामवेद भक्तविंद की जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the lotus feet of Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Sumati Bhakti Deda Swami Tinamani. Namaste Krishna Padaya Prabhupada Sutatmani Shri Guru Karuna Shakti Bhakti Deda. Narayana Namaste Chanarunchevam Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayat Nashta Prayesu Abhadresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamasloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 8, Text 19. By the way, I'm sitting in this morning for Mother Gita of ISKCON Atlanta, who can't make it this morning. So text 19. Tatvanam parisankyanam lakshanam hetu lakshanam purushadhana vidhi yogasya dhyatmikasya cha. Word for word. Tatvanam, of the elements that constitute the creation. Parisankyanam, of the number of such elements. Lakshanam, symptoms. Hetu lakshanam, the symptoms of the causes. Purusha, of the Lord. Aradhana, of devotional service. Vidhi, rules and regulations. Yogasya, the cultivation of the yoga system. Adhyatmikasya, spiritual methods leading to devotional service. Cha, also. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. kindly explain all about the elementary principles of creation, the number of such elementary principles, their causes and their development, and also the process of devotional service and the method of mystic powers. Text 20. I'll chant this 3 times, and after that, anyone who wants to chant can do so. Yogeshwara Shwaragati Linga Bangas Yoginam Vedupaveda Dharmanam Itihasya Puranayo Yogeshwara Shwara Gati Linga Bangas Yoginam Vedupaveda Dharmanam Itihasa Puranayo Yogeshwara Gati Linga Bangasti Yoginam Vidupavida Dharmanam Itihasa Puranayo. Hare Krishna.
Yogeshwara Katir Linga Bhangastu Yoginam Vedopaveda Dharmanam Itihasa Puranayo. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
योगेश्वरेश्वर्यगतिर् लिङ्गभङ्गस्तु योगिनां वेदो वेदोपवेदधर्माणाम् इतिहासपुराणयोः हरे कृष्ण
Hare Krishna.
Yogeshwaraishwarya Lingabhangastu Yoginam Vedopaveda Dharmanam Itihasa Puranayo. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else? All right, we do word for word now. Yoga Ishvara, the master of the mystic powers. Aishwarya, opulence. Gati, advancement. Linga, astral body. Bhanga, detachment. To Bhat. Yoginam, of the mystics. Veda, transcendental knowledge. Upaveda, knowledge in pursuance of the Veda indirectly. Dharmanam, of the religiosities. Itihasa, history. Puranaya, of the Puranas. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. What are the opulences of the great mystics, and what is their ultimate realization? How does the perfect mystic become detached from the subtle astral body? What is the basic knowledge of the Vedic literatures, including the branches of history and the supplementary Puranas? Report by Srila Prabhupada. The Yogeshwara, or the master of mystic powers, can exhibit 8 kinds of wonders of perfection by becoming smaller than the atom or lighter than a feather, getting anything and everything he desires, going anywhere and everywhere he likes, creating even a planet in the sky, etc. There are many Yogeshwaras having different proficiencies in these wonderful powers, but the topmost of all of them is Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is the greatest yogi, and he can perform such wonderful things far beyond the ordinary living beings. The devotees of the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, do not directly practice the process of mystic powers. But by the grace of the Lord, his devotee can defeat even the great Yogeshwara like Durvasa Muni, who picked a quarrel with Maharaj Ambarish and wanted to show the wonderful achievement of his mystic powers. Maharaj Ambarish was a pure devotee of the Lord, and thus, without any effort on his part, the Lord saved him from the wrath of Yogeshwara Durvasa Muni, and the latter was obliged to beg pardon from the king. Similarly, at the time of Draupadi's precarious position, When she was attacked by the Kurus, who wanted to see her naked in the open assembly of the royal order, the Lord saved her from being stripped by supplying an unlimited length of sari to cover her. And Draupadi knew nothing of mystic powers. Therefore, the devotees are also Yogeshwaras by the unlimited power of the Lord, just as a child is powerful by the strength of the parents. They do not try to protect themselves by any artificial means, but are saved by the mercy of the parents. Maharaj Parikshit inquired from the learned Brahmana Shukadev Goswami about the ultimate destination of the great mystics, or how they attain such extraordinary powers by their own efforts or by the grace of the Lord. He inquired also about their detachment from the subtle and gross material bodies. He inquired also about the purpose of the Vedic knowledge. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, text 15, the whole purpose of all the Vedas is to know the Supreme Personality of Godhead and thus become a transcendental loving servant of the Lord. Hare Krishna. Oma Gyanati Mirandasya Gyana Gyana Shalakaya Chakshu Amritam Gyana Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Gyana Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Vedati Swapadantikam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Tinamini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharani Nirveshesha Sunyavari Paschatya Shatani Namo Mahabharanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namni Gurachise Maha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadha Shiva Shadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So English translation from text 19. Kindly explain all about the elementary principles of creation, the number of such elementary principles, their causes, and their development, and also the process of devotional service and the method of mystic powers. Text 20, English translation. What are the elements of the great mystics, and what is their ultimate realization? How does the perfect mystic become detached from the subtle astral body? What is the basic knowledge of the Vedic literatures, including the branches of history and the supplementary Puranas? So these are all very, very important and very relevant questions put by Maharaj Parikshit to Shukadeva Goswami. And in learning the answers to these, we will be open to a whole area of knowledge involving mysticism, involving the creation, and involving parts of the Vedas, the histories of it, and also this is the Itihasa, and then the Puranas, the supplementary knowledge about how to live life practically and also spiritually. So, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by the grace of his pure devotee, Shukadeva Goswami, is explaining to another pure devotee, Maharaj Parikshit, who is the grandson of the Pandavas. And actually, this conversation took place at the banks of the Ganga for Sutta Goswami to be able to report it, because Sutta Goswami was one of those who came to the bank to hear the conversation between Maharaj Parikshit and Shukadeva Goswami as Maharaj Parikshit was preparing to leave in 7 days. So he returned, Sutta Goswami returned to the sages, 80,000 of them in Naimisaranya, who were also performing puja, worship, for the benefit of mankind, good-hearted people. And Sutta Goswami came to tell them what he had heard from Shukadeva Goswami and Maharaj Parikshit's conversation. So Maharaj Parikshit was the one hearing, and so he was the one asking questions. And Shukadeva Goswami was the one supplying answers and telling more about Srimad Bhagavatam. So that's the background. So, first one, which is in verse 19, actually he's asking it, Maharaj Parikshit is asking a series of questions, and some of them are put here. Kindly explain all the elements, explain it about all the elements, the principles of creation, the elementary principles of creation. What constitutes material creation is what he's asking. How many are they? The number of such elementary principles. What are their causes? What does each one do? And their development. How do they come to be? And also the process of devotional service, which is wonderful. He put devotional service in there. As Maharaj Parikshit, he's a bhakta, therefore that he will never forget. The process of devotional service, and also the method of mystic powers. By the way, the process of devotional service has been explained by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada to us, simplified and put into set of injunctions that we live by, obeying and also avoiding. Avoid the four regulating principles about eating meat, about having illicit sex, about intoxication, and about gambling. So those are the avoiding things. And then the things that we have to do, that's explained in the seventh canto, the hearing, the chanting of the holy name, hearing about Krishna, chanting about Krishna, and also remembering and serving the lotus feet of our Lord, praying. So there are 9 like that, becoming the Lord's servant, becoming the Lord's friend, and then also submitting everything, Atmanivedam, submitting everything to the Lord. Submitting everything means that our minds should be thinking about Krishna 24 hours a day. Even when we go to sleep, we should pray to be serving with the subtle body in our prayers. Because when we lie down, the physical body doesn't move. The physical body is not active. But then the subtle body, mind, intelligence, and ego, make up the subtle body. They become active. And so if you request that subtle body do activities in devotional service, then you cover the whole period of time, daytime as well as nighttime. So Maharaj Parikshit wants to know about the principles, the elemental principles or the elements of creation. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, Knowledge of the Absolute, that's the title. In text 4, the section of it, the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains this. So he says in the material energy, the principal manifestations are 8. And they're broken into 5 gross elements and 3 subtle elements. This is what Maharaj Parikshit wanted to have Shukadeva Goswami explain. So, the first 5 manifestations or elements are earth. Earth means soil, not the earth planet, but soil. Earth, water, fire, air, and sometimes we use the word ether, but sky also fits the same description. Those are the 5 gigantic gross creations. What's very obvious, and the planet consists of earth, there's water, there's soil, and there's water. Then there's the element, the energy of fire, that's there. There's air, and of course there's the sky that covers it. 5 gigantic gross creations. So, and Srila Prabhupada also mentions that the 5 sense objects are also included there. And they are the manifestations of physical sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. Sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. Now, the entire material science comprises these 10 items and nothing more. The other 3 items that are subtle make up the subtle body that we're talking about that becomes active when a person goes to sleep. Mind, intelligence, and false ego. Mind, intelligence, and the sense of identity. So the mind accepts things. This is the way it's defined, because materialists don't define mind and intelligence the same way. In the spiritual circles, mind is defined as that which accepts and rejects things. That which also induces the, for lack of a better word, the senses to act. The senses are controlled by the mind. Intelligence is the part that is also subtle, just like the mind is. Subtle means you cannot touch it with your hand. It's not gross like, water or fire and air and so on that you can actually touch, and soil. So mind, as we explained, and then intelligence is the one that discriminates the actions of the mind. And that is connected directly to the super souls present in the heart of the living being. The super soul guides the intelligence to prick the mind, to prompt the mind, to discriminate between the decisions of choosing something and neglecting other things. Is it good for you? If it's not good for you, so most of the time people say intelligence, well, that's that little voice that says this. Little voice that's prompting, well, that's the intelligence. And intelligence gets its decisions or what to do from the super soul. The super soul guides us. So the super soul guides us on the right thing to do, which means Krishna's incarnation of the super soul is after our welfare. And if it's after our welfare, there can only be one reason: he loves us. It is because of love that the super soul comes with us to the material world, even though the material world is for those who are, whether they know it or not, actually condemned to the prison, although they're thinking they're going to come control things here and be the boss. But in the end, when we see all kinds of troubles that the material energy gives us, we realize that it's not a place to control. It's actually a prison. It's a place to get out of and go back to the original way of life, which is in the spiritual world. So the subtle items are mind, intelligence, and ego. The ego is a sense of identity. But because we in the material world think that we are the center of attraction, we are the boss, rather than Krishna being the center of attraction. So that is the wrong way to think, and that's why the word false is put in front of the sense of identity, the ego, false ego. Those in the spiritual world don't have false ego. They have ego, and the ego tells them, I am a servant of a servant of a servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that's why the preeminent Shiksha Guru, spiritual master Srila Prabhupada, tells us that we always should be thinking of ourselves as Das Anudas, servant of a servant of a servant. So the elements are these 8 elements. In the end, it's 24, but working senses and they're broken down. And then the mind is added to it. And then there's this in the end, for greater description, we get 24 total. So it is said that the mantra sound, this is from now Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 5, Text 25. A little bit about the sound in the sky. So the sound is created and then the sky. Sound is a subtle form of the sky. That's the part that many people don't know. And the distinction is like that between the seer and the seen, Srila Prabhupada described. So the sound is a representation of the actual object, the sky. So sometimes in other parts of the, I shouldn't say sometimes because it's already written, in other parts of the Shastra, Srila Prabhupada says the sky is made of sound only. So that's how that's created. There's some things, as His Grace Balbhadra Prabhu likes to say, sometimes it's above our pay grade. We hear it, but of course, we cannot really quite imagine it properly because it's not something we're used to. But some of the things in the Shastra, we definitely have practical experience of it. And the practical experience is very convincing. It's even better than what other religionists consider. Religionists, we know things they don't know. A lot of things they don't know. A lot. Mm? Not just the ones that are above our heads, but even the things that are practical. Like why is somebody that's very young become so talented in a particular activity where many people at that age and even adults at that age can't play or cannot do that particular thing as well as that young person can. Some people finish by in the teenage, early teens, they've literally finished university. They just finished. And by the time they're, mid-teens and they're going for a doctorate program. Why so smart? Why are people are very, very adept at playing different musical instruments, a particular musical instrument by a very young age. And the teachers that teach them realize that the person is already talented. So the teacher can say only so much and the person just goes with it. And there's so many other things they can produce. And it has to do with their previous life. They were doing that activity in their previous life. And the subtle body got into the next body, the present body, in the present life, and brought that knowledge. And therefore, it's easy for them to tap into that knowledge and then begin to use it in that current lifetime. And then it's just bewildering to many people who don't know. They just put it on the talent or phobias for that matter. Also, why are there some people who are afraid of even in a car and it's crossing over a bridge just by seeing the water and the depth of the water, that something about it makes them uncomfortable. It may well have to do with the way they left their body in the previous life. They may well have drowned. And now the impression is there, the fear. It's in the subconscious, it's in the subtle body, and it's been carried to this previous life, to this present lifetime. So then they're afraid of the water. Some people are afraid of heights. And some people don't have any problem with heights at all. All it has to do with the previous lives. So those ones are practical. We can actually see and have the explanation for it. But there are some that, over our heads. That's just the way it is. So text 20. The question asked by Maharaj Pariksit, what are the opulences of the great mystics? What is their ultimate realization? How does the perfect mystic become detached from the subtle astral body? What is the basic knowledge of the Vedic literatures, including the branches of history and the supplementary Puranas? And we said the other time, it seems like a lot of questions at once, but at that time, those who were in the human bodies, they could actually take in a lot of questions or a lot of information and be able to remember all and then be able to answer them. So it shouldn't be surprising to anyone that so many questions are being asked at the same time. Actually, the whole chapter is questions asked by Maharaj Pariksit. So, the opulences of the great mystics. Well, they said they are great mystics, therefore they have mystic powers, which Maharaj Pariksit described as the opulences. Well, definitely there are opulences in that, just like somebody who's wealthy, they have things that others don't have, and that's an opulence. So the mystics also have mystic powers that the regular person does not have. Therefore, that also qualifies as an opulence. So what are the opulences of the great mystics? Well, they are 8 in total. So the person who is a master of mystic powers can exhibit 8 kinds of wonders of perfection. Srila Prabhupada says, becoming smaller than the atom, becoming lighter than a feather, being able to get anything and everything that he desires, going anywhere and everywhere he likes, and even creating a planet in the sky. So he wrote this is about 5 of them. But there's 8 in 8 altogether. So here are the 8, which is given in the Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 2, Text 22, the purport, the 8 mystic siddhis, perfections. The power is there to become, the yogi small like a particle. It's called the anima siddhi. Anima siddhi. Those who know that, there are very few people who know compared to the population in the world. And one, if they become very, very small like an atom, obviously we cannot see atoms. Therefore, the person seems to, according to our vision, he disappears. Even though he may be there, but actually the body is shrunk like that. So there are mystic cities, one of them being that anima city, becoming small like a particle. There was one person that had that ability, and he made money off of it, and he became very popular also. You can put him in a box, big box, lock it up, chain it up, and he says, well, after a while, they'll come out. And sure enough, they're able to come out. Why? Because they have the mystic ability to make themselves very, very small. And then, of course, we close this, there's definitely a very, very small opening somewhere in the box, especially the top of the box between the place, the lid, and that border, that junction. There is some space that an atom can easily come out. Even air can go through. So they come out, and then they presume they take back or get back their regular size. And the person came out of the box, and the box is still locked, and people don't know how that happened. But it's this animosity. Or a person come very soft, very, very, very light, sorry, like a soft feather. That's called Lagima Siddhi. Lagima Siddhi. To get anything and everything from anywhere and everywhere. You see some people that are yogis, they'll sit in the yoga posture, cross-legged, and then they chant some mantras, because all of these siddhis, you have to chant the mantras to be able to have it kick in. So the person chants the mantras, puts his hand out on whatever he wants, he'll get it. And what people see is that all of a sudden, this particular thing, usually it will go after fruit or something, because that's very obvious. Usually can come in the palm of his hand. That's called prapti. Prapti. And this person, they can just touch anywhere. They can, from sitting in one place, even touch another planet. And that's why they can acquire something from anywhere also. There is Mahima Siddhi. The person become heavier than the heaviest. Mahima Siddhi. And there's another one called Ishidva Siddhi. Ishidva Siddhi, they act freely to create something wonderful or to annihilate anything at will. Whatever they want to create, they can do that. And that's why even if they want to create a planet, they can do that. Now, Vasidva Siddhi, which is the seventh one, to be able to control all material elements. Control all material elements. And Prakamya Siddhi. That's the person will have the power that he'll never be frustrated in any desire. Whatever they want, they'll get. And Kamasbai Saita Siddhi, assuming any shape or form. One may even whimsically desire, assuming any shape or form. Now, the king of heaven, Indra, they had quite a few of these. And sometimes, he would change into a particular form based on whatever he wants to do. But these these can be learned. And there are those teachers, yogis, teachers in the Himalayas that if a person wants to learn, Radhanath Swami was saying, because he spent some time there before he met Srila Prabhupada, you can in fact learn these. Anyone can, as long as we're willing to put in the effort and anything you want to get, you have to strive for it. Even it's like that. To get a degree, you have to go to school and strive to do well in your subjects. It takes, Rana Swami is saying, average about 12 years to acquire one of these mystic cities. Now, what happens is people tend to want to show off with these cities. Jesus had all of them, all the 8 mystic cities. There are those in the higher heavenly planetary systems that have that. All of the inhabitants in Brahmaloka have that. All the inhabitants of Tapaloka, which is below Brahmaloka, they have that. And all the inhabitants in Janaloka. So these 3, Janaloka, Tapaloka, and Brahmaloka, they have all. They're born with it. They don't have to learn. They're born with it. So we here on the earth, we can't do any of that unless you just go learn from a yogi. And if you want to do all 8 of them, you won't have enough life. It will be time to leave your body practically by the time you get to maybe the 6th one. If a person struggles hard and uses 12 years for each, by the time you get to know 5 of these 8 mystics, 60 years of your life is already gone. So is it worth it? Not really. Not really. And Srila Prabhupada describes this in the purport and gives examples. Very, very, very important examples to have us be in the right frame of mind. Devotees don't need mystic cities because the Lord makes it possible for everything that is needed to be given to the devotee. So, for example, Durvasa Muni, who's the incarnation of Lord Shiva, who's already mentioned that Lord Shiva is the greatest among us in these cities. He can do everything he wants to do. Lord Shiva is not attached to that ability, even though he has that ability, but he's always meditating on the Lord Balaram, Anand Sej. So if it's necessary, then he'll do. But in the end, he doesn't really go around doing this. It's not an important thing, but he has that ability. His expansion, Durvasa Muni, who picked a quarrel with Maharaj Amrish, and he wanted to show his wonderful achievement of mystic powers. So actually, it was Durvasa Muni's fault. He came to visit. The story is this: he came to visit the king. Maharaj Amrish was very much loved by the people, so he was very popular. Durvasa Muni was a great yogi, an incarnation of Lord Shiva. And he was kind of envious of the popularity that Amrish Maharaj had. So he hatched something, a plot, to try to do some harm to him. Of course, Maharaj Amrish is just a devotee of the Lord. He's always thinking about Krishna. All his limbs and everything about that he had, he used in serving. All his senses he used in serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his devotees. So Durvasa Muni came to visit. Maharaj Amrish was actually fasting at that time. And when he came to visit Durvasa Muni, Amrish Maharaj received him very nicely. Durvasa Muni, of course, Maharaj Amrish do to give prasadam to him. Food stuff, meet him nicely, sit him nicely, and then feed him. Durvasa Muni said that he wanted to go bathe first in the river and then come back and then have a prasadam. So he left. And he deliberately did not come back for a long time. Maharaj Amrish was fasting, and the time had come for him to break his fast. But as etiquette dictates, you have a visitor. The visitor has to eat before you eat. And he had to break his fast. Maharaj Amrish. Where is Durvasa Muni? He wasn't coming. But Durvasa Muni had all of these powers. So he could even tell. Remote viewing. It also comes as part of these mystic powers. Those that can take anything from anywhere, they can also see what is happening anywhere. So when Amrish Maharaj consulted with the Brahmanas as to what to do, when he explained that Duvas Muni has to be fed first before he breaks his fast, and Duvas Muni wasn't returning. In the meantime, Duvas Muni knew what was going on. The Brahmanas advised to take a little Chanamrita water, that is the water that's used in bathing the deities. So it's not really sitting down and eating a meal, but because it is also a physical thing, water, then you can take that as a sign of breaking the fast. And at the same time, not really eating a meal. So as soon as Maharaj Ambrish did that, Duvas Muni shows up and says, you, Maharaj Ambrish, you do not follow proper etiquette. You have a visitor and you have taken before the visitor takes a meal. He just did that because he was envious of Maharaj Ambrish and wanted an excuse to get at him. So Duvas Muni decided that was enough reason to destroy Maharaj Ambrish. He took from his head a strand of hair, and dashed it to the floor. And this huge demon came from that action by Duvas Muni. And that demon was going to destroy Maharaj Ambrish. Maharaj Ambrish he's not a mystic. He's a devotee of the Lord. And he was thinking, my dear Lord, if praying to Krishna in his head, if this demon is to destroy me, that would be by your permission. And if you don't want him to destroy me, what can he do? Mm-hmm. So that was what Maharaj Ambrish meant. That's what ran through his mind. And sure enough, the Lord sent the Sudarshan Chakra, which is a formidable weapon, a wheel weapon, after Duvas Muni. The Sudarshan Chakra came and immediately, right in front of both of them, destroyed that demon, killed it, just cut him up. And then started to come after Duvas Muni. Duvas Muni ran away, and the Sudarshan Chakra was chasing him. Sudarshan Chakra is very hot. So actually, as he was chasing Duvas Muni, he was also burning. A lot of heat. Duvas Muni's body. So he ran, and of course, he has so many powers, so he can visit so many places. He went up to the higher planets, and he wound up going to the Vaikuntha to see Lord Vishnu and to beg for help to be saved from the Sudarshan Chakra. And he was told by Lord Vishnu, you have offended my devotee. I can't do anything to help you. You have to go back and beg my devotee for pardon. So Duvas Muni now had to humble himself, come back to the earth to Maharaj Ambrish and beg forgiveness from him. Maharaj Ambrish, very, very well behaved and a good example of etiquette. He didn't even accept it. He said, why are you my visitor? Why are you asking me for forgiveness? But of course, the Duvas Muni explained, either that or the Sudarshan Chakra kills me. So Maharaj Ambrish accepted, and the Sudarshan Chakra went back. Duvas Muni's life was spared. So as Srila Prabhupada also talked about Draupadi, when the Kurus in Dhritarashtra's court were trying to strip Draupadi naked in front of her husband, the Pandavas, in front of everybody else that was in the court. The Lord, when Draupadi threw up her hands and said, hey Krishna, hey Govinda, Krishna immediately appeared and supplied endless sari, so that when Dushasana was trying to strip Draupadi of the one sari that he was wearing, the same sari was extended, so much so that Dushasana pulled until he passed out. Draupadi was never made naked in front of people or stripped naked. So the Lord will protect his devotees. So the point is, don't be so attached to mystic perfections. Those things sometimes can have a false ego be so big because I could do this, and so many other people cannot do. And therefore you get followers, or you get so much. I mean, this kind of person cannot be poor because they can get anything for anywhere that they like. Hmm? They can create anything. Therefore, wealth is nothing to them. Whenever they want wealth, they can make it come, just like that. Hmm? And so some people may be attracted to it. But those kind of people, if they get very, very much into that mystic perfection, what happens is it keeps them from going back to Godhead because they are attracted to these material things. Therefore, they'll stay in the material world. And if they think of those abilities, then they'll come another life to the material world. Hmm? So it's not something to get all excited about. I wish I could do this. Oh, I go to the Himalayas and I can learn. In 12 years, I'll know one of them and I'll be able to use it in so many ways that I like. No, it's better to go back to the spiritual world where all of these abilities are not only there, but everything there to keep us from anxiety and supply all that we need is there. We just have to be servant of the servant of the servant of the Lord. And we serve in joy because everything around us is so wonderful, perfect, and plenty. Therefore, and everyone around us has a wonderful mood. Mm-hmm. So the spiritual world is the best place to be, and not these, mystic powers. Even though Maharaj, he was asking about the creation, so he asked these questions to Shukadeva Goswami. So devotees shouldn't get attached to it. So I've also been talking about this, been only one this time. I've been talking about a series about the Avadut Brahman and the realizations he had from his 24 gurus. Canto 11, chapter 9, we're mentioning one thing. So the Brahmana, the Avadut Brahmana was saying to Maharaj Yadu, everyone considers certain things within the material world to be most dear to him. Sounds familiar? And then because of the attachment to such things, they eventually become miserable. If you're attached to some material thing, in the end, it's going to make your life miserable. You should be attached to serving the Lord in bhakti yoga. So one who understands this, they give up material possessiveness and attachment. And then they achieve unlimited happiness. So for householders, now we should actually be willing to give, and give. As a matter of fact, the more we give, especially for Krishna conscious concerns or Krishna conscious projects or activities, the more Krishna supplies. If you have a tendency to give more for Krishna conscious projects, Krishna will give you more facility, not less, even more facility, sometimes even more than you expected. And for that, the Avadut Brahman talked about this story. So there was once a group of large hawks, the bird hawks, they were very strong, and they were unable to find any prey. So there was another hawk who had gotten some meat, and he was, of course, was enjoying the meat, he was eating. Now those hawks were larger and stronger than this other hawk that had meat. And at that time, the hawks were swooping down on this, the large hawks were swooping down on this smaller hawk. And he saw them coming. And so he was in danger for his life. So this small hawk gave up the meat and then left. And therefore he avoided trouble. And so, of course, he was happy to get away from that situation. So what is the lesson? So in family life, parents are always in anxiety about their home, their children, reputation. And Avadut Brahman says, but I have nothing to do with these things. I do not worry at all about any family. And I do not care about honor and dishonor. I only enjoy the life of the soul, which is bhakti. And I find love on the spiritual platform. Therefore, I wander the earth, go around like a child. So We may not go to that extent that the Avadut Brahman is doing, because he was wandering around, and King Yadu met him and said, "Why you seem to be so happy and so carefree?" And then he was explaining that he had these 24 gurus, and now we're talking about the hawk today. So parents tend to be in anxiety about home, children, reputation, and all kinds of questions come in our minds. So what are the children doing? What about my home? What about the taxes for my home? This, And this person says, I'm not attached to any of these. So for us as householders, those things are just temporarily necessary while we are in these bodies. Sannyasis travel all around and they get taken care of by the mercy of the Lord. The Paramatma induces somebody who's a householder, their heart, to do something to take care of the one who is totally renounced materially and giving their life over to Krishna. This is still going on. Our sannyasis are like that. So we shouldn't be attached to these material things. Be willing to give them away. My spiritual master, this is the last story I'll say. My spiritual master is Holiness Bhaktivedanta Swami. When he was younger, living in Cleveland with his mom, dad was not around much, but their siblings, they were a total of 8 children, and he was the last born. Their mother was very, very pious. And if somebody came to visit, any of the friends of her children came to visit came to the house, and she noticed that there was something that that friend didn't have, or it was torn or something, like the clothes were not good. He would just go in the closet and take the clothes that would fit that particular friend and give it to them. And no matter how much their children, Mother Perline, their children complained, but I just say he didn't care about them. He says, they need it, you give it. So it became a joke among the siblings. They said, okay, your friend has come now, whose stuff is going to go this time? Because mommy's going to go take something and give it to this person. She was very giving. And so they all learned that way not to get attached to anything material, because their mother would just give it as a gift to any friend that would come to visit. So that was their life. They got to the point they start laughing about it. Well, it's you this time. It's you this time. Your stuff's gonna go. Mommy's gonna take it and give it to your friend. So anyway, they all knew, and they just kind of accepted it as a way of life. But then when Bhaktivinoda Maharaj grew up, from that kind of household, he could give so easily, very giving. And once a year, all the gifts that she gets, he says he calls it his spring cleaning. He takes all these gifts, and the Woodies, he calls a meeting, and after he has a darshan, and he brings all these gifts, and he just keeps handing them over. I have a t-shirt now, a white t-shirt, and sannyasis usually wear orange stuff. So give me a white t-shirt. Somebody gave him a white t-shirt with Srila Prabhupada on the heart area, the left top, the picture of Srila Prabhupada. And he gave that to me. I got other things to Prabhupada. I've got books for Sanskrit. I've got things that we live with him. So we got all kinds of gifts that people gave to him. He also gave to us. So they don't hang on to these things. And that's the way we should be like, be willing to give. And the more we give, especially to the temple, the better off actually we'll be also. Hare Krishna. So we'll stop here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you for coming to listen. And this is the time. We unmute ourselves. Do you have any question? Do you have any concerns? Do you have any takeaways that you want to express? Then you can do that. Hare Krishna. So any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada.
Except mine, God, Srila Prabhupada.
One takeaway for me from this class is, Krishna made the process so simple for us. Prabhupada made the process so simple for us.
Yes.
There are so many people in this world who are so caught up in this mystic and this siddhi and this yogic and this position and all kinds of stuff, and they waste so much time, you know. And I think those, I mean, this is my personal, you know, realization is I think when we get caught up in all those mystics, you know, and all the siddhis and all this whatever, it takes us away from Krishna.
Yeah.
It takes us away from Krishna. It takes us away from the focus of Krishna. It takes us away from remembering Krishna. It's the mind, body, soul, senses, whatever, is just focusing on how to attain that skill, you know?
Yeah, the power, yes.
Yeah, the power. If we can use that, you know, in developing our Krishna consciousness and focusing on how to come closer to the Lord and what and focus and really focus on how to please Krishna, how to you know, give everything to Krishna, how to go out of our way to serve Krishna, how to come out of our comfort zone to serve Krishna, how to, you know, whatever it takes to, you know, to engage in devotional service. Like last week, Chandramali Swami was mentioning in his class, you know, on Thursday, which I was the first time for me. Actually, I didn't even realize that when Maharaj said that Prabhupada never used the word service. He always used the word devotional service. And that really hit me hard in my mind. I said, whoa. So that is the goal. And Krishna says clearly in Bhagavad Gita, if you want to know me, engage in devotional service.
Yes.
Simple process. Yes. So, you know, Krishna made it so simple for us. You want to know me, just serve me. Just do devotional service. We don't need any of this powers, you know. It's just a waste of time. So I was really appreciating how simple Krishna, how simple Lord Chaitanya made it for us, how simple Prabhupada made it for us. So this is my takeaway from this class. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Yeah, we do not need mystic powers. We may be very, very much consumed by the power that it gives us, and then we won't take bhakti seriously. We can actually fall into Maya easily. So Maya was, oh, you're very powerful. The things you can do, many people cannot do. People are fascinated with what you can do. And so we should be like Maharaj Ambarish, be totally submitted to the Lord. And then when it comes to mystic, whatever, even if it's going to go against us, then Krishna will be there to protect us. And yes, it is not just service, because service is, we have military service, there are other kinds of service. But this one is based on two things. Surrendering to the Lord and serving the Lord. Surrendering to the Lord and serving the Lord. Because we serve out of love for Him. Therefore, love and devotion go together. A person who loves another person devotes their time to them. We see it even in the mundane, you know, lifestyle that some people live. They have a poodle, they have a dog, and they just spend so much time taking care of the dog. That is service to the dog. They devote it to the dog. Because they don't know where to actually place their love and devotion. They don't realize that they have to do things to help their own soul get out of this miserable and temporary place. But you see that service, people serving the dog, and we serve Krishna, and we serve Krishna's devotees, and we serve Guru out of love. So that is devotional service, not just any service. As we said, you know, you can serve a dog or you can serve in the military, whatever. So thank you for making that distinction, that we should put the word devotion in front of that particular service, which is bhakti. And this is how we realize the Lord too. As he said, bhakti amama bijanati. One can know me only through devotional service to Him. Hare Krishna. Any other comments, questions? Any other comments or questions? If not, then we're a little bit past the hour. Thank you very much for coming on this Monday morning. And we'll see you the rest of the week, hopefully here at 8 o'clock as usual. Panchakalpatarubhasya kripa sundhivya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavi Namo Namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Nupur Mataji. Hare Krishna.